What's up, guys? Coming to you, I want to talk to you about the Joker movie. So, today I went and saw the Joker movie with one of my friends, and it's quite a movie. So, if you've never seen it, one thing I'll tell you is that it's very different from what you're going to expect. It's much more of a psychological thriller, a deep dive into the persona of the Joker and his fall from grace. It's definitely an origin story. I'll say that, and it's very, very dark, very dark. My friend, who is much more of a he likes dark stories and stuff like that a lot more than I do. Didn't care for it as much as he thought he was, and I'm not a dark story kind of guy. I mean, they can be okay, but it's just not really my thing. But I thought it was great. I will say that it's well, okay. I'll just get into the main stuff. So we'll do critiques first, and then I'll explain what I loved about it. So my main critiques are, I felt like the whole first 2/3 of the movie is kind of slow, just real slow for me. And maybe that's because I had different expectations about going in about what the movie was going to be about. It's much more of a thriller than it is like an action Joker movie, which the action Joker movie is what I wanted. And so I felt like if the last third, which was excellent, if they had made that 2/3 of the movie, and then made the first 2/3, which is kind of his becoming of the Joker, if they had made that the first third, I felt like that would have been better. Secondly, I feel like, I know there's a lot of talk about this is glorifying glorifying his evilness and his actions. I didn't feel like that was really the case. At the end, you definitely have like people calling him out for how terrible it is, and I've heard other YouTubers talk about how you have Joe Chill, who kills Bruce and Bruce's parents, and he's one of the people that's following after the Joker. I should say that there's lots of spoilers. Lewis will critique me for not saying spoiler alert earlier, but and he's always been portrayed as a bad guy, as a really bad guy. So I don't come away with that feeling that they're glorifying him as much as just documenting what happened, how he became who he became. I was worried while I was watching it that they were going to give too much of an origin and make it too clear where he came from. And as you watch the movie, all the stuff that you thought was really clear becomes unraveled, which is part of why he becomes unraveled. So you don't really know where he comes from. You just know some bad things happen to him. And I think that plays really well for the movie itself. So if you don't go in expecting it to be this big action, like Batman versus Joker, or anybody versus the Joker, then I think you're going to come out enjoying the movie. It's very dark. It's weird because there were some times where I'm laughing and like nobody else in the theater is laughing. I'm just like, come on, people, it's the Joker. He's so weird and creepy. It's hilarious. It's so good. I really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. The third half, or the last third. First two, I was kind of bored. I was like, let's fast forward and get to the Joker. So that's my big critique of the movie. I know some people probably criticize me and say, "Oh man, the whole thing was great." It was good. I enjoyed the last third of the movie better. And honestly, if I were to watch it again, I'd probably just fast forward to the first people he kills, because that's when things start getting good. Not that killing people is good, but that's when he really starts to become the Joker, and that's the best part of the character, is him being the Joker. I felt like, as far as like Joker goes, I thought this was one of the best Jokers we've ever had. Now we didn't get enough of it because again, he doesn't really become the Joker until the last third of the movie. But you know, I thought he did excellent as the Joker. He had this super slinky way about him that the Joker has. I just imagine him being beaten in the face by Batman and just like dying laughing. I thought it was weird that they had him have a supposed condition. I mean, who knows? But they tell you at the beginning that he has this condition where he just randomly laughs, and it doesn't match his actual feelings because of a psychological disorder, and he's mentally ill. And that they later kind of try to undo that, so I'm not sure what's true, which is one of the great things about the Joker. And I think that's really encapsulated well in The Dark Knight. One of the things I enjoyed about The Dark Knight Joker, if you can call him the Joker, is that every time he tells about the scars on his face, it becomes a different story, and I love that. And I guess the last thing, I think that there is a way that could really, from watching this movie, I feel like some people could take it into being afraid of people who are mentally disabled or mentally ill. And there's a lot of people who are really great people who have mental disorders. And I really hope that they don't take it that way, because there's a lot of really great people who suffer. And I don't think this movie is intended to make you fear people with the disabilities, mental disabilities specifically. And so I really hope that nobody really takes this that, oh, this guy could easily become the Joker because he's got a mental disorder. I don't think that's true. What I really think is that this goes back to the legend of the Joker, meaning that one bad day could turn him into the Joker. And we see that bad day, or really it's a bunch of bad days that turn him into the Joker. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful. So if you haven't read all the comics, one of the things that the Joker tells Batman is the difference between Batman and the Joker is one bad day. So the Joker had a bad day and it turned him into the Joker. If Batman had a really bad day, he would become the Joker too. And so obviously that's not true. Batman would, even in the worst day, never becomes the Joker. But it's really interesting to see like how much is piled up against him to turn him into the Joker. And I thought there were some interesting points about our societal role in creating evil. I generally, say each person take care of themselves. I'm very charitable. I like helping people and stuff. But I don't necessarily think that everything. I think life is what you make of it. And so you can't blame your problems on society. It's kind of my general take. But there are certain things in society that we can change to help people better. So I see both sides of that. And I thought that even though I thought he's pretty crazy and half of what he says is untrue, which is the Joker, I thought there are some interesting points that can be made about the role of society on its people. And that goes into the greater philosophy of the Batman and the Joker. Does the Batman create the Joker by being the Batman? And that's something that DC Comics has explored a lot. And it's going on somewhat in the Doomsday Clock. Did America in the Doomsday world create all these new heroes or all these supervillains because of the presence of a superhero? And so, I think that's pretty interesting to delve into. But I don't think it's society's fault for people acting evil. And so I did think it was interesting to show a lot of shade on Thomas Wayne. I thought that was good. I'm not a huge fan of making Thomas Wayne not a good guy. I think that I like the version of him where he's loving toward Bruce and he takes care of him and he really tries to help people. We kind of see that. I think it's in The Dark Knight. It might have been Batman Begins. We see he's really cares about people and really wants to help people. I really like that aspect of Thomas Wayne. But I'm glad they didn't go to the extent that happens in Batman Damned, because that's a little too far for me. Making him like a cheater who cheats on his wife in those comics, and they made it seem that he was a pretty bad guy in this movie, but it's hard to really see because you only see things from the Joker's perspective. So that's really interesting, I thought. And then I liked the comedy stuff. It was pretty funny. There's a lot of crazy stuff. One thing with the question is, like, did you buy the relationship that he supposedly had? And I never really bought it. I didn't know that it was going to be a figment of his imagination, but it never really felt right. If somebody follows you to work and then suddenly you're attracted to them, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you got to be some kind of person for somebody stalking you to fall in love with a stalker. It's just kind of weird. If some random lady was following me around all the time, I'd be like, this girl crazy. I don't want anything to do with that. But so I didn't buy that, I just thought it was really strange. But it turned out, it made sense in the end. But the best part of the movie is the last third, in my opinion. And that's when we really see him become the Joker. We get some good jokes. I like that he finds what he's doing funny, and he thinks of his life as a comedy, and I think that's so true to the character. But I like how he looks. He's got some inspiration from the Dark Knight Joker. He's got some inspiration from the Mark Hamill Joker, which I like better, because I'm not a huge fan of the Dark Knight Joker. He's just not funny. This guy, I think, has the dark humor that the Joker is supposed to have. I think some of the best Joker moments is actually from the DC video games, and that's Mark Hamill, because he's the best Joker. I think some of those where, like, I think it's Injustice. You have the Joker, like, he's pouring gasoline on the guy he just beat, and then whoosh, whips out a lighter and says, "You're fired." That's a great Joker. That's a great Joker, and this kind of follows along that path, which I like. And so, I think this is going to be the best, one of, if not the best, live action Jokers we've had. I still think I like Mark Hamill better, but that's only because we didn't see him joking enough. So if there was a sequel, we'd see a lot more humor, I think, which would be great. I like a lot more lightheartedness. I want to see the Joker where I'm laughing at him, but deep inside it's hurting me because I'm like, this isn't really fun. This shouldn't be funny because he's doing really terrible things, and I think that's the perfect Joker. Drawing out a dark humor from you that you shouldn't be laughing at, but the way he's doing it, these awful, horrendous things, just makes you laugh. And I laughed at some things in the movie that I think I laughed once or twice out of The Dark Knight. It was just so serious. Why so serious? But this one was, I know it was very serious, but for me, there was a lot of things that were just really funny. And so, yeah, I enjoyed the movie. It's probably not my favorite DC movie, but I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. But it is very, very dark. It is very dark. Again, my only critique is I felt like the first 2/3 of the movie really drug really slowly. There were moments I was like, just fast forward and get to the Joker. Like, I want to see him be the Joker. It was just a little too much for me. So that's my problem. I don't know that I'd watch it a whole bunch afterwards. Again, I'm not a huge dark person, and it just wasn't funny enough for me to watch it all the time. But that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Did you enjoy the movie? Have you seen it yet? What do you think about the really dark, gritty version of the Joker? Let me know. I know Lewis had no desire to see it because of how dark it was, and because of he told me that it was kind of like they just threw the Joker in the real world, which is kind of true. Gotham is very much like New York City. But yeah, let me know what you think. Did you enjoy it? Did you not want to go see it? Let me know why in the comments. If you enjoyed this discussion, give me a like. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I'd love for you to join the family. We do live streams every Monday, as much as we can, and we will catch you next time. Peace.